Well, welcome back again this week. You remember that I reported last week on the fact that the Wausau School District in Wisconsin was a little upset over a choral group from the school, and they imposed upon them some restrictions relative to the hymns and carols that they were going to sing over the Christmas holiday. Well, now we find out that they're backing away from this, at least to a certain extent, because of several hundred irate parents and concerned citizens showing up at the school board meeting and protesting what was going on. Now, they say that it's getting a little bit too close to a violation of the Constitution to have a public school endorse a religion by allowing a public school carol group to go out and sing Christmas carols. Now, I've read the Constitution, I've read the Bill of Rights many, many, many times, and I find nothing in there in that regard where they cannot be allowed to do that. As a matter of fact, as I reported before, all the school texts in the history of the United States until we got up to Earl Warren as the Supreme Court Justice, Chief Justice, we had religious sentences, religious connotation, scripture, referral to God, Christ, and other things of that nature in our public schools. I've got my great-grandfather's public school primers. It always refers to God and the Bible and everything else in there. That being said, let's move on to something else that we've talked about recently, and that's the food problem in China. And now we see out of an English newspaper, in The Guardian, in an article titled, "Like Some Fox Hair with That? China Digests Latest Food Scandals." And it's talking about all the food scandals in just the past week that have surfaced in China, where they've made reprocessed cooking oil out of things like chicken anus, duck feathers, and fox hair. I don't think I want to use any cooking oil from China on my food. And then, too, in the past week, they found that they were from that case to 43 defendants convicted on 3 other food safety cases for selling meat products made from animal waste. I didn't know you could do that. 3 days prior, more than 30 passengers on an Air China jet ran for the toilets after eating expired beef pastries. And on Friday, an inquiry found that almost all of the beef jerky in a southeastern province was actually chemically treated pork. So here's again where they were trying to make it look like it was beef. So those are the problems that are still constantly occurring with Chinese food products. So why on earth would our agriculture department want to import processed chicken without the labels being put on it into the United States, labels as to the country of origin? Probably because of stories like this where people won't want to eat it if the country of origin is on the label. I know I certainly would not. One of the things that we see more and more of is the Chinese getting involved in not only exporting products, now food, but they're exporting their money, buying up a number of things around the world. In the BBC News, for instance, it talks about what does China own in Britain, and come to find out they own 60% of the agriculture and 49% of the energy. And that is a disturbing thing because of all the things that the Chinese are investing in, and we know they're doing this with iron ore and oil and that sort of thing, they are investing in energy. Of course, oil is energy. Coal is energy. Electricity is energy. And they're out buying up these sorts of things all over the world. Far more, 5 times more than the next largest category that they invest in. They invest in energy. They're investing in Australia to an extent where it won't be very long before they'll have a heavy political influence on that country simply due to their investments and their ownership of certain companies in that country. If they have China, if they have Australia, and heavy influence in between, they will literally own the Pacific. We see, too, where they're investing a great deal in banks. For instance, we know that they've put millions and billions of dollars into Deutsche Bank, the German bank, so that they can have an investment portfolio in England through that bank. How much they've invested in Deutsche Bank in all the rest of Europe, we don't know. But it is indicative of the fact that they're moving into the financial aspects of the European Union. That is not good while Obama and his administration are negotiating to actually become involved in the European Union through the Transatlantic Trade and Investment Partnership. Now, if the Chinese are moving into the financial aspects in Europe, we also know that they're already the largest foreign lender in the United States. That gives a tremendous amount of influence over a number of different things because, after all, people deal with their banks, don't they? A disturbing aspect of that is the Patriot Act as it refers to banking in the United States. Let me just read you from one investment financial newsletter that I get. It's kind of revealing. It says, "Jail for your bank's CEO? Sound like a good move to you? Probably not, but that is just what the government has in mind if CEOs fail to toe the line with the Patriot Act. Talk about infringing on personal security rights of Americans." Here is what Cato CEO and former chairman and CEO of BB&T, John Allison, has to say on this most frightening issue. Quote, "As a former bank CEO, I am intimately knowledgeable of the dangers of the Patriot Act. Under this law, banks are supposed to identify suspicious activity by their customers. If a bank files a suspicious activity report, or SAR, and there is no suspicious activity, there is no consequence to the bank. If it fails to file an SAR, the bank can be fined $50 million and the CEO sent to jail," unquote. He concludes, quote, "To my knowledge, not a single terrorist has been caught and convicted primarily because of the Patriot Act," unquote. Now we have the banks spying on what we do. A suspicious activity. What could that be? Well, let's say you go to Las Vegas and you hit it big. I don't know if anybody ever has, but let's say you did. And you came home with $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 in your pocket. And you deposited that cash in the bank. Is that a suspicious activity? Probably. And so you might be reported to the federal government because it's required that the bank file an SAR report on you. So it's not a good thing when you've got the Chinese and are getting involved more and more in the banks. Our government is passing laws which now makes the banks a spy on you and your personal finances. It's something that is very, very disturbing. We'll be keeping our eye on this as we go forward with these broadcasts. Until next week, we'll see you then.